I don't see any recording, or you said, I mean, you'll be sending documents also, right?
Right. So Ashish, as I said, the document I had to purchase from one of the person. So once we confirm, you guys are comfortable with the options. Once we started, then I will buy the document.
No problem.
So
What about
that's
the
the
recording?
yeah. Recording is not a concern. I will load yesterday's and today's one.
Okay, okay, no problem.
So what the first 3 days, that's why I said just see the sessions, and if you're comfortable with the
Okay.
terminology, language, then we can start the payments or sharing these things or um, etc. So
Yeah.
again, I have to spend something on logistics as I discussed with you. So that's the only reason. So let me know by end of the day if you guys are comfortable, so that I will from my side I will buy the documents. So we will see the next thing. Yeah. Okay, so we'll summarize of what we discussed in yesterday's session. In just we are still in overview. Okay, in overview, we are trying to understand what are the components are associated with the time of plan. Okay, so far we discussed about balances. What is the difference between track balance without tracking balance? What is the difference? The difference between start of period, end of period, eligibility, calculations, accruals, time off. Okay, so let me share the tenant first. We'll have a quick review, then today we'll talk about some new concept. So if you want to get a time of plan, we need a few blocks, or you can also call it as components. That is, one is balance, where we'll track the balance. Okay, the number of days employee availed, number of days left over. Calculation, like what is the daily quantity, whether the employee can avail the leave, or whether the employee can avail the time off on weekdays, only on weekdays, or Saturday, Sundays, or holidays, or non-holidays, are customized. And accrual is the calculation. Today we are going to talk more about this area. And time off, where we will configure the validations, custom messages. For instance, an employee cannot take time off for 30 minutes. Minimum employee can take 1 hour, or employee can take more, not more than 8 hours. It should be less than 8 hours. So those kind of controls we will configure in the time off. Along with that, validations. So the difference between accrual and time off is accrual. We are giving the balance to the employee. Time off, employee will take the time off from the balance. So here 10 days you are giving. Here it's in simple, it's plus, positive or negative. Eligibility, who is eligible for the time of plan? What are the additional criteria are required for the time of plan that we have to set up under eligibility? Okay, we have some basic idea, not fully, don't worry. So today we are going to talk about accruals. We list out all the calculations that we can build uh, for absence management. And from tomorrow, we'll start creating the time of plan. Okay, I come with requirement. We'll start creating our time of plan. Okay, so accrual is very simple. In the accrual, the mandatory field, yeah. Hey, hi Devashish.
Hi, Kiran.
Yeah, just we are having the overview. We have discussed much.
Sure.
Yeah. So in the accrual, see if when I said create accrual, so this is accrual against a component, and it's mandatory when you're going for time of plan. If you select track balance, okay. So here, if you can see, only name and code. These are very straightforward fields where you can give the name and code of the time of plan. But this is the one of the most important, critical, little logic and complex area is calculation. Okay, complex area is calculation. In absence management, we have different types of calculations. And one thing, if you know how to build calculations in absence, you can easily build the calculations in payroll. You can easily build the calculations in time tracking as well. Because the calculations are quite same in between these three modules: time tracking, payroll, and absence. Just the fields which we are selecting will be different for each module, but the calculation remains same. And sure, in coming days, there might be only in function especially, there might be a good demand only for the people who is experts in calculations. Okay, that roles also maybe will come in future. So we're going to talk more about this area today, calculations. The first thing, what are the types of calculations we have in Workday, especially for absence management, and how these calculations are divided into three categories. So yeah, with some good examples, we'll discuss. Okay. So once you're familiar with the calculation, tomorrow we'll start building our time of plan. Okay. So let me show the document. One second. Normally, calculations are divided into three categories: Boolean, number, date. Okay, so we can see here Boolean, number, date. Boolean, if you want to build any calculations based on I'm just giving an example: compensation rates, or any salary types, or a combination of logicals. Okay, you can go with Boolean. A number means if you want to multiply, if you want to extract a number, if you want to create a constant numbers, you can go with second option. Third one, date. So if you want to extract a date, or if you want to build a date, okay, or if you want to compare the differences between two dates, you can go with date related one. Okay, so now we'll go with examples of each calculation. First, make sure the calculation divided into three types. Please remember these 3 points and try to remember under Boolean what are the different types of calculation sets we have. Under number, what are the different types of calculations we have. Under date, what are the differences we have. Because when you're creating calculations in the requirement, first you have to analyze these three. Okay, and always calculations are not the right solution. It's like hit and trial. Always, either in payroll or absence or time tracking, hit and trial. You have to configure, test it. If you're achieving the solution, then only you have to go with the calculation, or else you keep on try. So when you remember these three things, what will happen? If someone asks you to create a calculation based on the compensation grade, you no need to search for this. You can directly go for Boolean, logic, instance set value. If someone is asking a calculation based on extract a number or multiply a number, you can go with number related calculations. If the requirement demands you to create a calculation based on the date, you can choose a date related calculation. That's the reason Workday divided the calculation into three categories: Boolean, number, date. And please remember what are the types of calculations are available in each category. Okay, this is the first step you have to do. Now let's discuss the examples of calculations and what are the calculations we have. So let's start from aggregate calculation in the alphabetical order. What is this aggregate calculation? When we were to use this calculation? So if you want to identify a sum, average, minimum, or maximum, or also you can call it as upper limit, okay, minimum limit. you can choose this aggregate calculation. Okay. For example, if you want to sum the number of hours worked by an employee, let's say you got a requirement, an hourly employee also you want to create a time off plan for hourly employees. So the requirement says that if any employee completed 40 hours, then the employee is eligible for 1 day of leave. Okay, or else let's take 40 is very small number. Let's say 40 multiplied by 4. 160, 40, 40, 80, 160. Let's say if any employee completed 160 hours, okay, 160 hours, then the employee will get 1 day of leave, 1 day of time off. We can call it time off. Now here what you are doing, the number of hours working the employee, you are grouping those numbers. You can simply call sum. You have to create a sum. Okay, consolidating all the numbers as 160, and a condition: if an employee works greater than or equal to 160 hours, then that employee should get 1 day time off. So grouping or sum 160, or taking an average. Okay, or taking an average also we can use to for aggregate calculations. So anytime if you got a requirement says that group the number of hours, group the number of days worked by an employee, or sum, or take the average number of hours worked by an employee, based on that you have to create a time off. You can go with aggregation. Okay, this is one. The second one is arithmetic. The quite common calculation in payroll and absence is arithmetic. So what is arithmetic calculations will do? This is for sum. Okay, if you want to sum, or if you want to take a mean average, or if you want to take maximum number of hours or minimum number of hours, you can choose aggregate calculation. Okay, arithmetic calculation, multiply. If you want to multiply any value, subtract, divide, and add or addition. So if you got a requirement, multiply, subtract, divide, and add in simple proration logics. Okay, in simple proration logics. An example: calculate FTE prorations. Okay, calculate FTE prorations. Let me give an example. If any employee, if employee hired on first date of the month and completes 30 days. 30 days. In the next upcoming month, the employee will get 1 day time off. Okay, the employee who's ever hired in first date of any month and completes 30 days, the employee will get 1 day time off. Okay, let's see the example where exactly this arithmetic calculation will come. If an employee hired on second half of the month, means 16th. Okay, 16th of the month, that employee should get 4 hours of leave in the next upcoming month. Example, let's say if an employee in the month of, currently we are in the month of April, if any employee join in the month of April 1st, then May the employee will get 1 day off, 1 day leave or 1 day time off. If any employee joined 16th of April, that employee will get 4 days. The system has to identify and prorate the number. In these scenarios, if you got, you have to choose arithmetic calculation. Okay, for proration logics, It will multiply, subtract, divide, etc. So then the next one is bill date. The bill date is also a calculation, and this calculation will fetch the information related to date, year, month, day. Date, year, month, and day also you can fetch if you want. So let's say, what's the example we can take here? Just thinking, for example, bill date. So if you want to allow a time off based on specific year, month, date, or else let's say this one, employee hired, okay, employee hired on 2019. First is holiday. I'll just say, taking an example, 1/1/2019, and completes 90 days. Okay, and who said complete 90 days? Let's assume once the employee successfully complete 1 quarter, then the employee will eligible for 3 days of time off. The condition is he has to complete 90 days. We have direct field. But if you have any condition saying that on specific date, on specific month, on specific year, plus 90 days. Okay, so you have to extract the date, month, year. In such scenarios, you can go with bill date calculation. Okay, you can go with bill date calculation. Another example, you can also go with floating holidays to identify. Floating holidays are not always constant, right? So holidays are two types, floating and constant. Constant one is, for example, August 15th is constant value. August 15th is constant. Irrespective of every year, August 15th, it remains constant in 2019 or 2020 or 21. But some holidays will be deferred. For example, floating holidays, I can say, I'm just taking some example from Sankranti, we used to call Makar Sankranti. It will be floated. Or let's take Ramjan is a good example. Okay, it's not a fixed holiday. It's not a fixed holiday. So they will take the holiday whenever certain condition met. So those kind of those kind of time offs if you're creating, you can create this bill date one. Okay. So what is floating holiday? What is constant holiday or fixed holiday in terms? We will see when you're creating the holiday calendar. For that, you can use bill date calculation. The other one is my favorite one, conditional calculation. Conditional calculation itself, it says the name itself is saying condition. Okay, condition. This is like if statement. If statement. So here we will build a steps like A, B, and C. So these are the three statements I'm saying. Okay. Inbuilt again inside we have to create a calculation. If A met the requirement, okay, if A met the requirement, let's assume 3 days of vacation or 3 days of time off. So B met the eligibility, then 4 days. C met the eligibility, then 5 days. So if statement, if A, B, or C, it is a kind of an OR conditions. So if you have these kind of conditional related calculations or conditional related requirement, you can choose conditional calculations. Okay, example, calculations based on accrual based on years of service. An employee complete 1 year of service can get 5 days of vacation time off. An employee whosoever completes 3 years of service, then the employee can get 10 days. So these are if statement. If employee completes 1 year, if employee completes 3 years, if employee complete 5 years. So whenever these kind of requirement, you have to choose conditional calculation. Okay. So if statement, simple. The next one is constant date calculation. It's almost similar to the bill date. Bill date, you have an option called YYMMDD, DDMMYY, MMDDYY. So the format you can change. The other one is constant date calculation. On specific date, based on specific date, you want to allow an employee, sorry, based on a specific date, you want to calculate some time off. Okay, we can use this constant date calculations. Okay, I'll give an example for this constant date. Whenever we're going go live in the absence management, let's say we are implementing absence management in the year of 2019. We are planning to go live on by, let's say August, we're planning to go live on August 2019. So historical data is also there for the workers, right? Historical data. So while loading the balances, we can use this constant date. Or else you want to create a condition saying that employees can avail time off from the month of August, from 01/08/2019. Assume this is a go live date. And you want to allow the employees to request time off only on this date. If you're not giving a date constant, what will happen? Employee can take the leave in the past date also. But that is not correct. We are going go live on 1/8/2019. So that employee can avail leaves or time offs from this date itself. So you are restricting the employee should not go beyond this date. Or the employee cannot correct the leave of balance or time of balance beyond this limit. After this date only they can take. So for this we can create constant date. Okay. Then other one is constant date. Sorry. Okay. It's a constant value. Constant value calculation. So employee. Okay, let's take this statement. If employee complete 5 years of service, then the employee will get 15 days of vacation. Okay, this is conditional calculation. If employee completes 5 years of service, so if is condition, 5 years again you have to use some different calculation. But here 15 days, 15 is constant value. Okay, 15 is constant value. So you have to create any, if you want to create any number from 0 to any number, if you want to create a number, you can use constant value. So 15 days you want to show at worker level time off. So we have to create 15 days as a constant value. Okay. Then the other one is date difference calculation. So this is also quite common again to build it. So it returns the number of days months, years, but interval between two dates. Okay, so date difference calculation will help you to identify the number of days, months, years, but interval between two dates. Okay, So honestly, I haven't worked on this calculation, but I will explain you this one once we start building the calculations. Okay, I don't have right away any example. So we'll discuss once we start building the calculations. Okay, date difference. So far, any questions on these calculations?
See, can you explain again this conditional calculation and constant value? Both are if condition.
Right. So let me show in the tenant so you get a better example. The reason why I'm asking the tenant, why I'm not asking tenant, right? Because if you see the calculations, we initially we will go mad. So let me show in the tenant, and I will explain with the example. There is tenant. Oh, that's a report. So normally, as I said, you can create calculations for different modules, but our requirement is for absence. So I'm going to apply category only on absence. So let's take one conditional calculation from this list. There are 149 calculations in this current tenant. Okay, so let me select one of the condition. So only one statement, A only, but we need multiple statements so that you will get an idea. A, B, C, D. Yeah, this is a good example. Now see here in this conditional calculations, we have if statements. If this condition meets, condition A meets, and this is the value, 2.74 time of the employee should get. If B meets, which means B meets in the sense, the primary work state is Queensland, Australia. See this inside again, we have one calculation, instance set value. The employee's primary work state as of period start date, if it is Queensland, then the employee should get 2.745 as a time off. Okay, so here we have an order. We have to specify an order in the condition. If either one of the condition meets for any employee, either one of the condition meets employee, a specific result, whatever we have maintained, these values will be, so these many days the employee will get time off. Okay, so for different states, different result, different time offs. Employee from South Wales can get 2.74 and Queensland 2.7 days, South Australia 4.1 days, Tasmania 2.7 again. So based on the states, they are giving the time offs. Okay. So to achieve this, we have to create a condition rule. One side order, other side the logic, whatever you want to put the condition, then the result. Okay. So this is if statement. If A, if B, if C, if D met, or if E mates, if F mates. This is the output. Now value, constant value, is very pretty simple one. This is the constant value as per my understanding. So I'm going to drill down, go inside. Yeah, see this one. So constant value. It's very simple. You have to give the constant value. For example, in this current requirement says, if the employee belongs to the Queensland, then the employee should get 2.7. Okay, 2 points. So it will be round up. So it becomes 2.8 only. 2.7 is a numeric value. The 2.7 employee should get time off. That numeric value we will specify here in the constant value calculation. Okay.
Kiran, the value gets round up automatically, or we have
No,
even
we have
rounding
to
up
set up.
tool?
We have to set up the roundup value.
Yeah, okay.
Not automatically. We have to, whether you want to round down or round up the nearest value, we have to do that. And roundup is recommended always if the daily quantity is days. Roundup is not recommended if the daily quantity is hours. However, the client has to take the call. Okay, so that's the practice. Okay.
Which calculation type is mostly used in absence management?
Absence management, the most commonly used calculation is constant value, logic if statement. Apart from this, the best, most important one is arithmetic calculation, because proration is quite common in absence management. I will give you a simple example. Let's say, let's divide an year into 4 quarters. Okay, 4 quarters. So any employee, as per the company policies, employee should get 20 days of vacation leave per year. 20 days of vacation leave. When the employee joined in the first quarter, then the employee should get 20 days. If the employee joined in the second quarter, then the employee should get 15 days. The employee joined in the third quarter, the employee should get 10 days. The employee joined in the last quarter, the employee get 5 days. So the number is different here, correct? 20, 50, 10, 5. The system has to identify and prorate automatically. Okay, to identify prorate automatically. For this, we will use arithmetic calculation, the quite commonly used calculation in absence management, and one of the critical, little complex one as well. Okay, fine. Of course, lookup one again. Lookup calculation also there. It's like, I'll give you an example. So other one is lookup calculation, mostly we'll use in absence management. So see this an example. Employee continuous years of service greater than, I always confuse between this, greater than 1. Okay, employee should get 2 days. Again, I'm repeating, same logic. Employee continuous years greater than equal to 3. Employee should get 5 days. In fact, they'll get more than this. I'm just taking the random numbers. Five years, 10 days. This is also one of the calculations called lookup calculations. First, we have to create a lookup table. Okay, lookup table. So we have to configure first. Okay, let me show one example so that you will get an idea. Complex calculation, why I'm not showing the tenet, once you see, right, it's like overlapped each one after another. It will give more confusions. Category is not there. Annual leaves, if it is annual leave, we have to go with lookup calculation. Now here see, any employee complete 1 year of service, they'll get 7 days. If any employee complete 3 years of service, they will get 8 days. 4 years of service, 9 days. 5 years of service, 10 days. So this is again a quite common calculation in absence management, for especially for annual leaves or vacation leaves. Based on years of service, it will be different for each employee, right? To achieve that, we'll create this lookup table. Okay. And so lookup we discussed. At least we should be familiar with 10 calculations minimum, so that you'll be good enough to break this interview. Lookup table based on years of service. Also be familiar with the short forms. Instead of writing years of service, continuous years of service, so we used to write like this. Okay, YYS, years of service, CYYS, continuous years of service. So we should be familiar with this terminology as well. Okay. Then let's go on other calculations. Ninth one, logic calculations. So one of my favorite. Normal payroll will use mostly. So the name itself is saying logic. It's a kind of a unconditioned or condition calculation. Unconditioned or condition. Okay, I'll show in the 10 minute itself. So you can take two values or more than two values with a condition saying that and or. Example, an employee belongs to cost center 001 and the employee belongs to supervisor organization ABC. Then the employee should get 3 days of time off. So here two objects you have to fetch. One is cost center, other one is organization, and you have to use a condition unconditioned, which means employee mandatorily the employee belongs to these two types of organizations, cost center and supervisor organization. Then only the employee will get 3 days of time off. Other way, if the employee is part of cost center 001 or employee is part of supervisor organization ABC or condition, the employee will get 3 days of leave. These kind of requirements, if you got, you have to create logic calculations. So let me show an example. So here we normally will maintain the condition or okay. So and means both conditions should match. What are the conditions they are given here? The first condition they are saying employee schedule paying start date of month 1. Inside there might be some logic. Period state bid month. Okay, value comparison calculation. So they're taking month, in the month, period start date equal to 1. If the period start date is equal to 1 and worker hire date less than or equal to current calendar year start date. Okay, worker hire date, employee hire date less than or equal to current calendar year start date. So what is the current calendar year start date in general? What does it mean? So date it is. It's not month here. Date. Current calendar year start date. Current calendar means current calendar year means 2019. Okay, current calendar year means 2019. What is the start date of the current calendar year 2019? 1st of Jan 1st. Correct? Jan 1st is the current calendar year start date. So any employee hired less than or equal to the current calendar start date. Any employee hired prior to the 2019 1st January and the employee should hire on first date of the month that should be equal to 1. Then the employee is eligible for certain time of whatever they mentioned in the result. Okay, so it's and. If I make it or, it will be split into two conditions. Either this condition satisfies or this condition satisfies. So what are the time of you have mentioned that employee will get. Okay, so for this we have logic. Of course, you can assign more or on combinations. What are your logic? Okay, this is one, and this is also will use in absence. Um, yeah, not frequently, but logic calculation also can be used in absence management. Then after, we'll talk about value comparison calculation. Under combinations. The 10th one, value comparison calculation. The name itself is saying comparison. So it's like true or false conditions. Okay, value comparison is compare true or false. You'll compare two values, and whichever is true, whatever you have written in the statement, if it is true, then the employee will get time off. If it is false, then the employee is not going to get the time off. An example, an employee months of service greater than equal to 8, or employee hire date month equal to July. If it is true, if the employee hired in the month of July is true, then the employee will get certain time off. Or the employee paid time of balance is greater than equal to 0. So comparing and writing a written statement is true or false. So for that, we'll use value comparison calculations. Okay, fine. See, apart from this, we have three more calculations: date extract calculations, increment and decrement calculations, instance set count calculations. That we'll discuss once we start with configuration. So I'm planning to hold for today. So tomorrow we'll start configuring time of plan. Okay, we'll come with some simple requirement. Let's start building the time of plan. Okay, which is simple requirement. We'll follow three ways. One is simple, another one is moderate, third one is more complex. Okay, we'll create these three, and setting up creating time of plan is pretty straightforward and easy, but creating the logic, the calculations is complex one. It's a kind of hit and try until you'll get the result. Okay, so any questions so far we discussed in these 10 calculations?
So, Kiran, this conditional calculation, right?
Yes.
You gave an example like if an employee completes 1 or 2 years of service, then this amount of days he'll get as a time off, right? So, but in every case, we see that if statement is being used, right, in
Correct.
every calculations. So, is it like in every calculations we'll be using conditional calculation?
No. Sometimes straightforward calculations also will be there, arithmetic. If that's what, if the conditional calculus demands your requirement, or you got a requirement where you have to create a conditional calculation, then only we have to choose. It doesn't mean it's mandatorily we have to choose the conditional calculation, but often we will use conditional calculation as well. The most quite widely used calculation among all these 10 is arithmetic. Arithmetic is the most widely used and constant value. Of course, conditional calculation as well. Based on the requirement, we have to choose.
Yeah.
So, for instance, let's say we saw 5 states in Australia. Okay, they said 5 states. So, 5 values, 5 different states we have to group, and that if A or if B, if C. So, it remains conditional. Let's assume they're asking only one state. then you can go with value set comparison as well. Condition also you can achieve. This also you can do. And calculation is a calculation within the calculation. Within the calculation, you can create another calculation. For example, this is a logic calculation. Okay. When you create this, act as a task, create a logic calculation. Inside this, again, which will allows you to create multiple calculations.
Mhm.
And for better example, create conditional false. Okay, so normally we'll give you a, so this task is a calculation, but within this condition, again, we have to create a calculation. The result of it. Okay, so if everyone is fine, we'll hold for the day, and tomorrow we'll start.
Yeah.
And let me know if you are comfortable with the absence management or any feedback. It will be welcome.
As of now, it's going good, but I think this.
Yeah, thanks, Devashish. And my request, so let me tell you one thing, even I did 3 implementation absence. Okay, 2 implementation absence, 1 support problem. Absence is a dry content. Whenever we see the numbers right, brain is always not ready to take the numbers calculations first. But the demand is good. Okay, the demand is good for absence management and compensation or benefits in the market. The absence is more demand. But learning, you have to put more efforts as well. From my end, I will help you by giving the activities. And I will resolve your queries when you require. From your side, you have to do more. Because these calculations, while we're discussing, it's easy to understand and all, but we have to continue to build these calculations. So once you start building the calculations and once you're familiar with this, you can do it any time of plan. There are only specific roles only to build the calculations involved. So please think, and I'm going to load the recordings without missing. Sorry for yesterday. I just ran to my office. I'll upload these 2 recordings. Go through that. Let me know your feedback. So based on that, I will buy the book. I will share with you guys. Yeah. So is it okay if we can hold for today?
Sure.
Okay. So thanks, Ashish. Thanks, Bala. Thanks, Ashish. Take care. See you tomorrow in the same.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kiran.
Thank you.